If you don't feel, I can make you feel also. I have many ways to make you feel that I am inside the class. If you want, very soon I can start the activity, you'll feel. Next, union. So, a like structure union is another user defined data types. Like structure union is another user defined data types. The way we define structure data type, the way we define structure data type, same way we will define union data types. Same way. Only the reservoir struct will be replaced by union. Only the reservoir struct would be replaced by union. I'll tell the purpose. So if you look at the data type definition, it starts with a reservoir. Sorry. It starts with a reservoir union followed by name of the union data type, not variable, followed by name of the union data type. It's not variable. Variable, remember, it's a data type. And then we have data members of union, one or more, normally more than one. And then we can declare variable of these union data types. We can declare variables. Possibly this was the same definition in case of a structured data type or not. Started with a struct. But the only difference here is that in case of a struct, if write down on your copy, there are 4 data members. In case of a structured data type, there are 4 data members. How many data members are there? 4. First one is a character. Second one is an integer. Third one is a float. Fourth one is double. First one is char, int, float, double. I could say the name of the data members could be ABCD. Name of the data member could be ABCD. Like char A, int B, float C, double D. Understood it or not? How many data members are there? 4. If these data members are the data member of a structure, and assume character text 1 byte, integer text 2 bytes, float text and double text 8 bytes. With this assumption, online students, why are silent? सानिध्य?
हाँ सर.
Sir, can you repeat it again, sir, please?
हाँ, वही बोल रहा हूँ. मतलब सानिध्य थोड़ा लेट ज्वाइन किए.
नहीं, late नहीं.
Let me share.
Yes, sir.
I compare this union with a structure to tell you the difference. We have a structured data type and union data types. How many data members are there? 4. Name of the data members are ABCD and the types are char, int, float and double. Assume char text, int text 2 bytes, float text 4 bytes, 8 bytes. Now, in case of structured data type, again remember, no memory is allocated to structured data type. No memory is allocated to the structured data type. Memory is never being allocated to data type. Int is a data type or variable?
Data type.
Data type. Float?
Data type.
Data type.
Does the system allocate any memory to those? Memory will only be allocated to int A or float B like this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Memories are allocated to variable. So struct data type which has 4 data member ABCD. Will the system allocate any memory for this?
No, sir.
Then memory will be allocated when we declare variable of this data type. Let me say I declare a variable, let me say X of this structure data. X is a variable. Immediately memory will be allocated to the variable. And what would be the size of the variable? How many memory will be allocated? Size
Depends
of
on
all
data
data
type.
members cumulative, I can say.
Yes, sir.
Size of A, size of B, size of C, and size of D.
D.
As I told 1 to 4, 8. If I go on adding it, comes out to be 15.
15.
Does it take exactly 15 bytes or minimum 15 bytes? Minimum 15 bytes
minimum.
because some slack byte might be required. Understood up to this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So I can access the data member by writing, let me say x dot A, if you remember, x dot B, x dot C, x dot D. We have different values for A, B, and C and D. But now, if I say X is a union variable, X is a union variable, and the data type of the union has how many data members? Again, 4 ABCD, char, int, float, and double. When memory is allocated to the variable X, X will not be allocated with the memory to accommodate all data members at a time. Will not be allocated memory to accommodate all data members at a time. It will only allocate a memory space which can accommodate one data member at a time. It will allocate a space which can accommodate one data members at a time. If this is such, how many data members we had? And if I remind you again, let me say, so the start, it is 1 byte, 2 byte, 4 byte, and 8 byte.
8 byte.
If I remind, what should be my space in byte so that it could either accommodate A, or it could accommodate B, or it could accommodate C, or it could accommodate D, or
8 bytes.
8 byte, sir.
8 byte or not?
Yes, sir.
Can I keep a space of 1 byte which can accommodate either A, B, or C, or D?
No, sir.
So, no, the conclusion here is at any instance of time, how many data member persist or exist? Only one. I'll tell about this. So the space allocated to the variable of a union type will be space of or cumulative sum of all data members, or only one data member which takes largest space.
One data member.
Is it understood? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
One which takes largest space. Now the question remains. I'll come to the examples. So it has some use will come to that later on, but the purpose is that if I'm declaring a variable in my program, I have multiple data members, but all those data members are mutual exclusive. Are mutual, meaning is occurrence of one will protect occurrence of others. If I want A, I do not want B, C, and D. The moment I need B, I don't want A, C, and D. If I want D, I don't need. In such a situation, will you go for a structure or a union?
Union.
What's the advantage? What's the advantage? Less space. Only this is advantage. Less space. If I feel so. But if the data members are not mutual exclusive, sir, I want A and B and C and D. So can I go for a structure union?
No, sir.
Understood this, the basic differences? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Bhai hai. Any data member of a union variable can either be accessed by using dot operator or arrow operators. Bhai hai. Structure variable को जैसे access करते हैं using dot and arrow operators, same two operators will also be used to access the data members. Can it either be a dot or arrow? When can I use a dot operator? If I want to access the data member using a pointer or variable.
Variable.
If I'm accessing it using a union variable, I will
Dot
use
operator.
dot operators. If I'm going to access the data member using a pointer to a union, then I must use
Arrow operator.
and before dot, I'll write down the name of the union variable. After dot, I'll write down the name of the data members. Yes or no?
Yes.
If I'm using arrow, Before arrow, I'll write down the name of the pointer variable. After arrow, I'll write down the name of the data members. Very simple or not? Understood?
Yes.
Say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. Now, let me tell. दिखाता है जगह है छोटा सा. अच्छा. अच्छा इसको छोड़ रहा हूं. तो एग्जाम्पल है. आई एम गिविंग ए स्मॉल एग्जाम्पल. ओके, आई एम गिविंग ए स्मॉल एग्जाम्पल. देन आई विल कम बैक टू दिस. The small example, let me declare a union. ठीक है. यूनियन का क्या नाम दे? सानिध्य दे देते हैं. सानिध्य स्पेलिंग डिफिकल्ट है. मोहन दे देते.
हाँ सर.
सानिध्य स्पेलिंग में मिस्टेक्स. Look at this. I'm giving a very simple example. Int A, int B. Understood up to this?
Yes.
It's a variable or data type?
Variable.
Data type. No, यही तो गलती है. हमेशा
Data
कहते हैं
type.
कि it's a data
Data
type.
type.
It's a data type. Let me declare a variable. Let me declare a variable. Union Mohan. Let me declare a variable X. So now X has how many data member? Right, two data member. But at any instance of time, how many data member will persist, will have existence?
One.
Either A or B. The variable X, has it been assigned with any value?
No, sir.
I can assign. So if I look at the memory representation, let me also tell about this. This is the memory representation for the variable X. Inside this, do you have two data member or only one? One. Either A or B. Understood or not? Either A or B. Right now, which exists? बोल नहीं सकते. Either A or B. Its existence will come how? Let me also discuss. Memory is allocated. Memory is allocated. I wrote here X dot A equal to 50. So what would be stored here? Anyone can tell?
Yes, sir. 50.
50. Can I display the value using a printf statement? Printf
Yes.
percentage D, then X dot A. Yes or no? Write down a statement. X dot A, sorry, printf percentage D, X dot B, not A, X dot B. Have you assigned to X dot B? No.
Sir.
We have not explicitly assigned to X dot B. But however, the location which has been allocated inside this 50 is there or it has been destroyed? It is there. It is there. Now, system doesn't know whether you have stored for A or you have stored for B. System doesn't know whether you have earlier. इतना तुम्हारा जैसे दिमाग थोड़ी ना है कि नहीं? इसका दिमाग इतना तेज नहीं है. किसका वैल्यू इधर स्टोर किया था? A का B कंप्यूटर भूल जाता हमारे जैसे. भूल जाते. भूल गया. But now if I write a statement here, let me write down a statement P, a integer variable. P is an integer variable. Assigns to X dot B plus 1. Let me write down. बोलोगे सर X dot B तक कभी स्टोर ही नहीं किए थे. Yes or no? But that memory location, you can name it either A or you can name it or B. A बुला के स्टोर किए थे. है कि नहीं? A बुला के स्टोर किए थे. But जब एडिशन कर रहे हैं किसका वैल्यू ले रहे हैं? X डॉट B. X डॉट B देखो ये ठीक से. अरे आसानी से कैसे गलत बोल रहे हो? किसका ले रहे हैं? X डॉट B. So this X dot B will bring which value from the memory?
A का.
Yes or no? If I write down here X dot B, this value will immediately become 51. Again, if I write down X dot A equal to 2 into X dot A. Now, X dot A you are stored as 50 in a location, but that has been updated to 51 or not?
Yes, sir.
So, in this memory location of A or B, what
B.
value is available? 51 is available. Yes, or no?
Yes.
Now, it will immediately store a value. Multiply क्या होता है? 102? 102 or not? Is it understood? Yes or no? So once computer stores, it forgets. In case of you, it forgets. Again, or when you retrieve, the value is there. Whether you name it A or B, all the same. Is it understood? लेट मी गो फॉर ए लिटिल बी डिफरेंस, ओके, और थोड़ा अलग करेंगे, ये इसमें ज्यादा समझ में नहीं आएगा। दूसरा करते हैं, डिक्लेयर अनदर यूनियन, यूनियन, सानिध्य बोलेगा मेरा नाम, अच्छा क्या है, अच्छा घोष बोल देते हैं, घोष बोलने से बहुत सारा टाइटल होगा, घोष, ओके, यूनियन घोष, int a char b, ठीक है, assume integer text 2 byte, character text 1 byte, assume integer text, so memory is allocated, do you all agree one memory will be allocated?
Yes, sir.
No, memory will be allocated when we declare a variable, yes,
Variable declare करना है।
अभी तक वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर किए क्या? अच्छा
नहीं।
वेरिएबल का नाम दे दो, क्या दे दिए? वही एक्स दे दो, यस सर,
Yes, sir.
अरे आया समझ में, एक्स दे दिए, सो दिस इज योर एम्परसेंड एक्स, इसके अंदर क्या क्या है, अच्छा हाउ मेनी बाइट्स आर अलोकेटेड, 1 और 2?
2 byte.
अच्छा इसमें थोड़ा डॉट डालते हैं, इसमें थोड़ा डॉट,
सॉरी सर 2
बाइट्स, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, हो जाता है, 2 बाइट्स, ओके, 2 बाइट्स, 2 बाइट्स। नाउ सपोज आई रोट एक्स, ओके, डॉट a equal to, okay, equal to 105. Every integer number has a binary representation, has a, and let me
Binary
say
representation.
integer is represented using 16 bits. We have a integer representation in binary 16 bit, and the machines Intel Motorola uses, sometimes Little Indian, Big Indian don't go for that. We have, let's say, 16 bit representation for the number 105. Oh, कोई ऑन कर दिया, अरे ठीक है, so this is your 8 bit one, this is another 8 bit, 105 is represented in how many bits?
16 bits.
Most significant 8 and least significant
Least
8.
significant.
Understood it?
Yes, sir.
Why not? If why not? Yes or no? Why not can be a question or not. If you have not understood why, you must have understood why not. You answer why not, I'll tell why. Think why not, I'll tell why. Okay. So it is represented in how many bits? 16 bits.
16.
Lower 8 bits and upper 8 bits. Now, when we store in 8 bytes, let me tell this location is 2000, this location is 2001. In a Little Indian concept, the lower 8 bits will be stored here and the most significant 8 bits will be stored here. Yes or no? And combinedly lower and upper 16 bits gives the value 105. Yes or no? Suppose, let me tell a small number, let's say 2561. Suppose I want to store in 2 locations. 61 will be stored in 1 location, 25 will be stored in the next location. Suppose if I want to read both the bytes, I'll read it as 2561. Yes or no? 2561. If I read the upper byte, first byte, I'll read 61.
Yes, sir.
If I wrote only the lower byte, means 20, I'll read 25. Yes or no? So now we store 105, combination of zeros and ones. So lower 8 bytes stored here, upper 8 bytes stored here. But in this location, where A appears, where B appears, in these 2 locations, who appears? And
A.
one more question, answer it carefully. And B appears in both the locations, the first location.
First location.
First location. Because B is a character which is of how many bytes?
1 byte.
Understood this? Yes or no?
Yes.
So A takes both the bytes, B takes only
1 byte.
Bye.
Very good. Suppose I will write down here display percentage C x dot B. Have I written anything to x dot B? No,
Yes.
directly I have not. But some value is there, yes or no?
Yes.
Which was stored by A. Sir,
Yes,
if I
sir.
read, will it read the whole 16 bits or first 1 byte?
First one byte.
First one byte.
And that 0-1 combination, must be ASCII value of some character.
Yes, sir.
8-bit 0-1 combination, any combinations can be ASCII value of some character or not. Their character will be displayed or not.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand this?
सर उसको तो परसेंटेज डी कर देंगे तो नंबर भी तो
और ही
प्रिंट कर
अच्छा
देगा।
नंबर आ जाएगा, लेकिन 105 नहीं भी आ सकता है।
हाँ सर।
105 को जो बाइनरी किया ना, जो
हाँ।
मोस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट 8 बिट में कुछ रह गया। वेरी गुड सानिध्या, यही मैं बोलने वाला था सानिध्या, तुमने बोल दिया। अंडरस्टूड इट? यस और नो?
यस।
अरे समझ में आया कि नहीं है? सो कौन सा चीज पढ़ रहे हो, इसलिए अलग डिफरेंट डाटा टाइप्स कैन बी द डाटा मेंबर्स ओवर हियर इफ यू नो दिस। नाउ कम बैक टू दिस. This is only union data type definition or variable declaration also?
Variable declaration also.
Yes.
Variable declaration.
Data type definition manos along with variable declarations. You could declare in a separate statement. You could declare it in a separate statement. It's your choice. Your choice. I wrote data.i10, data.f this. Once I write data.f, now if I want to read data.i, will I get some value or not?
Yes, sir.
Will I get 10? No, 10 has been overwritten. 10 has been overwritten by data.f or not?
Yes.
Understood or not? So after this statement, data strc programming, if I want to again read data.i, will I get 10?
No.
But if I want to read data.i, it will take these two characters C and a space, combine a binary combination, will give a decimal value or not? Understood it? Yes or no? So once we overwrite, the previous data gets destroyed. At any instance of time, how many correct data member I will get? Only
One.
whichever I
One.
get. Is it understood, Sanindya?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So program I'm not going to discuss in this, and difference you all have understood. Basically one difference is size is larger, size is smaller. Their data members are mutual exclusive. No, nothing. Only, yes, only. If you say advantage, that's not advantage, that's necessity. Necessity is if the variables are of mutual, data members are mutual exclusive, then we'll go for union. Yes or no? A union can be replaced by a structure, yes or no? But the reverse is not necessarily true. Yes or no? Union can be replaced by a, absolutely no problem. But the reverse is not necessary to remember this. As one may.
Yes.
Okay. So today I will not discuss much program. I will go to another topic, very important. Student, is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अरे visible तो है, क्या पढ़ के बताओ तो सानिध्य?
Dynamic memory allocation.
हाँ, very good. Let's go to the dynamic memory allocation. Very, very important. Now, so if I tell static, dynamic, there ought to be a static memory allocation or not? The simple data type int A, float B, all are statics. Int A of 10. Now let me say int, oh sorry. Write down int A of 10. Okay. Can I write down here? Can I write down this? Valid or not? Int A of 20, then double quote computer.
Sir, carry of
yes,
20
Sanidhya,
होगा।
correct or not?
Carry of 20 होगा ना?
नहीं, मैं वो तो नहीं.
Invalid.
This is correct or not?
No, sir, no.
Why not?
Sir, integer type है वो।
Integer and character can be declared and assigned interchangeably. This
हाँ, yes,
sentence,
sir.
have you forgotten it?
नहीं sir, ठीक.
समझ में आया कि नहीं है?
हाँ सर.
Can we? Okay. If you feel confusion, if you feel, let me make it clear. Doesn't matter to make it clear. Look at this. Now, suppose we declare an array of size 20. So at the beginning of the program execution, 20 bytes of memory space is allocated, assuming each character text. Okay. Suppose I want to store in this array department like information technology may not be occupied, may not be accommodated in A of 20. काउंट मत क्या करो, काउंट कर रहे हैं. सपोज इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी और कीट डिम टू बी यूनिवर्सिटी, नहीं तो होगा ना कम से कम. So in that case, should I return back to my program, write down A of 40? हाँ सर 40 में हो जाएगा कि डिम टू बी यूनिवर्सिटी. मैंने अगले बार फिर सर बोले ऐसे नहीं, कलिंग इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल टेक्नोलॉजी डिम टू बी यूनिवर्सिटी लिखो. सर क्या 80 करेंगे क्या? So my question here is, this type of allocations are static allocations. Let's keep a features of allocating the memory dynamically during execution of the program as per the requirement during execution. So we will decide the size at the time of executing the program, and that we call as dynamic memory allocations. In dynamic memory allocation, during execution, the program, or there would be a command, or I can say a function call, which will make a request to the operating system, to provide so many contiguous memory locations. Understood or not? During execution, with the help of a system command, the program will make a request to the OS to allocate so many number of contiguous memory allocation. For that, we use command like malloc, calloc. I'm coming very soon. Once we request to the OS, the operating system will immediately allocate. If I ask for 100 bytes, OS will allocate 100 consecutive bytes, but the OS will return the starting address from where 100 consecutive bytes of memory space are allocated to the programs, and it will return the starting address where from 100 bytes were allocated. If I ask for, let us say, 500 bytes, it may return the same 2000 address, but from 2000, how many consecutive bytes are allocated to the program?
500.
500. And I can make use of it. And this A of 20, once I define in a program, this 20 character size will remain bytes till the end of the executions. In this case, the way sometimes student asks the teacher, sir, give me your pen, I'll write, then you return it normally at the end of the class. Sometimes do not return. Yes or no? Teacher तो चले जाते, return नहीं करते. लेकिन you should return it once the writing is finished or not. अरे मैं टीचर, हो सकता है कोई टीचर भी स्टूडेंट से ले लिया, नहीं कभी नहीं होता क्या? कुछ टीचर होते ही ऐसे, अरे पेन थोड़ा दो तो भाग जाते. बहुत स्टूडेंट जाएगा टीचर का पीछे. मैंने कभी कभी टीचर का देखा 4-5 पेन कहां से लिए, ये शायद लैब से चुराया होगा कोई स्टूडेंट से. और वो हकीकत था, मैं गेस किया, ये टीचर हमेशा देखता हूँ 4-5 डिफरेंट पेन पकड़ में लेके घूमते हैं, एक तो पेन. फिर मैंने दोस्त को बोला ये शायद लैब से चुराया होगा. वही बात सच है, सच निकला. ओके, नाउ सो व्हाट आई से, आफ्टर यूजिंग दिस मच ऑफ मेमोरी स्पेस in my program, I have some more time to run, but in those portions of the program, if I feel this memory is no more required, I can return it back to the OS from whom I have taken it during my executions. Again, let me tell. Suppose I am executing, this is my execution time of the program. Maybe let's say this takes 20 seconds and this takes, let me say, 40 seconds. And during this first 20 seconds, I need this memory, and after that, I don't require them. Then what I can do? I can make them free as soon as I used it. But if I go for a static array, then that memory location will remain there till the end of the execution. तो इसलिए क्या कल से पेन नहीं लाओगे क्या, मतलब सर से ले लेंगे लिख के फिर दे देंगे, ऐसे बात नहीं है. So we will make it free. Understood it? Now let's come to the command how to request it. Now, if you want to take a set of memory locations from the OS during its execution and to catch hold of the memory, there has to be a pointers. Understood or not? There has to be a pointer variable which will catch hold of the memory which would be returned by the OS to the program during its executions. There has to be a there has to be a pointer variable which will catch hold of the memory allocated by the OS. There has to be a pointer variable which will catch hold of the memory allocated to the programs. लिख दिया यहां तक. अच्छा, now this you remember. Okay, now look at this. Let me discuss one command, malloc. Malloc stands for memory allocations. Malloc stands for, now I declare a variable, read it carefully, int. So what is a? Which type of variable a is?
Pointer.
Star.
Pointer to integer or uninteger?
Integer.
Pointer to
And
integer or
integer.
uninteger? Unintegers. Yes or no? It's pointer to unintegers. Very good. Now we want to take some memory space from the OS during its executions. I can write a statement like this. Remember this. I'll write down malloc memory allocation. I wrote here 100. 100 means how many bytes? 100 bytes. 200 means? Very good. थोड़ा दूर लिखते हैं, यहीं पे लिखते हैं, थोड़ा जगह छोड़ते हैं. So immediately it will allocate 100 contiguous memory bytes. How many memory bytes? Hundreds. And the starting address, let it be 6000. Starting address is, so this malloc will return what value? 6000.
6000.
The starting address of the memory which was allocated. Understood it or not? It returns the address 6000. But the 6000 address is addressed to an integer or it's an address to a void? It's addressed to a void. It can be addressed to any data types. The address 6000 is addressed to any data types, whichever I want. I'll say point to integer, point to character like this. But OS returns address to int or address to void. Address to void. OS returns address to void. Void means it can point to any location.
Any
Any
location.
data types. It can point to any data type. Sanindya, understood?
Yes, sir.
Now, but in the left hand side pointer variable, does it accept address to void or address to int?
Address to int.
Is there a matching or mismatching? So what to do? Typecasting. Mismatch होने से typecast कर लेंगे? Yes or no? So we need to have a address typecasting here. Okay? So this address, return address should be addressed to whom?
Integer. Packet int.
The address which was returned is addressed to int. Int star address to int. Char star address to
Char.
float star address to float. Understood this? Yes or no? I have a question. Integer text 2 bytes. Integer text 2 bytes. मैंने क्या बोला?
Integer take 2 bytes.
How many integer space was allocated? Is it 100 or 50? How many bytes were allocated?
100.
Each integer text?
2 bytes.
So how many integer space was allocated?
50.
Is it understood? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
100 means 100 bytes. 200 means 200 bytes. The integer number specify number of bytes. Understood it? Very good. Now, after this, do you imagine this pointer will be pointing to this first location? 6000? Or it assigns to 6000 or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
A is a pointer pointing to an integer. Can I access the first integer by writing a star? A is pointing to how many integer?
First
And-
integer.
Putting a star, I'll get the element or not?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
how do I access the next element?
Star A plus 1.
Very good. मजा आ गया, A+1. उसके बाद A plus, the last element should be A plus 40.
9.
Understood it? Yes or no? And same thing I can also apply for a one-dimensional array. Don't forget A of
0.
this will also be applicable. Can also be applicable. The way we were accessing an array, same way you can access or not.
Yes,
Only
sir.
difference is that the allocation is done at the beginning of the execution or during execution when we require it. As and when we require
During
it.
execution.
Understood it? Inside this bracket, sir, I wanted to have 50 integer space. How many integer I want to store? 50. But sir, I do not know size of integer. I do not know. Can I write down this? मेरे को size नहीं पता है. But I require bytes or integer space.
Integer space.
But malloc accepts integer space or number of bytes.
Number of bytes.
bytes.
लेकिन मेरे को integer कितना byte लेता पता ही नहीं है. And it also varies from system to system. In one system it is 2 bytes, in another system it may be 4 bytes. Then what we can do inside this bracket, I'll write down 50 integer space into size of int. Size of looks like a function. Size of looks like a, but it's an operator, unary operator. It's an operator. Size of int, if the system integer size is 2 bytes, what it returns? No. Size of int, what it returns?
2.
2 into 50 became,
100.
I'll get 100 bytes or not. But do remember, this size of int has no relation with this pointer to integers. Has no relations. For example, I want 50 integer space. I know floating point data object takes 4 bytes. Floating point data object takes. Will it be correct if I write 25 into size of float? What is size of float? 25 into 4?
100.
100 bytes will be allocated or not? And this size of float has no relation with this. This A has a relation with int star. Understood it? Yes or no? As one once you have understood. So once I do not require this, I can write down free A. Free A means this link will be delinked. The address will return back to the operating systems. And with this, if I want to explain one, look at this. Static memory allocation, dynamic memory allocations, these are required. Do remember one thing. If I want to use malloc and calloc, I should use a library function stdlib.h. Okay. See the syntax from malloc and calloc. Malloc allocates contiguously, calloc allocates contiguously, both allocates memory, but calloc, all the memory location will be made to 0 if I use calloc. Same, I can get 100 bytes using malloc or calloc, but in case of malloc, no initialization occurs. You have to go for explicit initialization. In case of calloc, all the elements will become. Suppose I took an array using malloc and I will add all elements. We cannot predict the results. But if I want to all elements after calloc, the result will become 0. Understood or not? That's the difference. And there is a small difference in the syntax. It has two call by value parameter passing. First is number of space and second one is what is the data type. I can write down here int, but again the return value will be addressed to int or addressed to void. Addressed to void.
Void.
It will be addressed to void always. Then we must use a
Typecast.
reallocate. I am not explaining right now. Malloc understood, calloc understood. Free basically starting address, then the memory location will be made free over here. The syntax, as I told, in the left hand side, we'll have a pointer variable. Then I'll go for a typecasting. This typecasting must match with the left hand side pointer variable. Then malloc inside the bracket size in bytes. 100, 200, whatever you want, you can give, or you can give an expression. But the result of this expression should be a floating point or integer.
Integer.
Can you ask the memory 2.6 memory bytes?
No, sir.
It should be 2, 3, 4 like this. Understood? हाँ कि नहीं है?
हाँ,
अच्छा, हाँ. Look at this, small examples are there. You practice. PTR equal to cast type, malloc size in bytes, int PTR, then PTR int star malloc 100. Is it understood?
Yes.
Is it allocating 100 integer space or 100 bytes?
100
If
bytes.
each integer takes 4 bytes, if I assume each integer takes 4 bytes, it allocates 25 integer space.
25 integers.
Understood it or not?
Yes, sir.
Any facility? आया समझ में? तो कंफ्यूजन अवॉइड करने के लिए इफ आई वांट 100 इंटीजर स्पेस, किसको याद करना पड़ेगा? इंटीजर 2 bytes 4 bytes. I could write it like this or not? Size of is operator or function?
Operator.
But looks like a function. दिखता फंक्शन जैसे है, इसको ऑपरेटर बोला. यूनरी और बाइनरी?
Unary.
How many operand it requires?
1.
And that operand is basically
Data
yes,
type.
a data type int float char like this. Very good. Very good. Do look at this. Here I wrote size of char, but I wrote int star. Understood or not? Because
sir.
PTR is pointer to int. Doesn't matter what I'm writing here. It only gives how many bytes you want to allocate. ठीक है? आया समझ में? एक एग्जाम्पल करते हैं. पढ़ो एग्जाम्पल क्या है? Allocate n elements, n mean 10, 20, 30 like this, dynamically to a pointer variable. N number of elements will be pointed by a pointer variable. Assign data to all these n elements and find out sum of all n elements using pointer variable. Question समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? N
No.
could be 10, 20, 40 as the user wants. ठीक है? सानिध्य, अर्घ्य समझ में आया?
Yes, sir. हाँ, sir.
Yes, sir.
हाँ. अंकिता घोष, प्रत्युष कुमार. अच्छा.
Yes.
अच्छा. I have declared the variables. Is it understood, everyone? N I star PTR sum equal to 0. Understood, everyone? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All the variables are integer type or one is pointer variable,
One
One
is
is
point.
pointer.
and that pointer is pointing to you or pointing to me or pointing to integer and integer.
And integer.
And integer. What do you access scenario? Very good. Have you understood the next two statement printf scanf? Tell me yes or no.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
N could be 10, 20, 30. PTR assigns to int star malloc n into size of it. Is it understood, everyone? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Do you have any value over here? No, sir. We'll assign. Had I been used calloc with a
0.
different syntax, these values would have been.
0.
Now, answer to one question. Malloc takes more time for execution or calloc takes more times for execution?
malloc.
Malloc.
अरे गेस कर ले तो malloc calloc क्या दो ही ऑप्शन दिया. अच्छा मैं एक चीज बोलता हूं, एक कॉपी में 0 लिख के, एक पेज में 0 लिख के मेरे को दे दो, एक ब्लैंक शीट दे दो, कौन सा जल्दी होगा देने में?
Blank sheet.
आया समझ में? आया समझ में? ओएस को क्या लिख के देना है? ओएस को क्या लिख के देना है? 0 लिख के देना है. ओएस को मैं बोल रहा हूं भाई मत लिखो, जो है दे दें. कौन सा जल्दी होगा? अंडरस्टूड इट और नॉट? समझ में? 0 तो लिखना पड़ेगा ना. ऐसा नहीं सर आप बोल देने से 0 ऑटोमेटिक हो जाएगा ना. वेरी गुड. अब तो दिस अंडरस्टूड. उसके आगे क्या करेंगे? एडिशन करेंगे और वी हैव टू गिव नंबर टू दिस अरे.
नंबर दे.
अच्छा एक चीज मैं भूल गया पूछना. अच्छा टेल मी हाउ डू आई एक्सेस दिस एलिमेंट? कैसे करेंगे?
स्टार
PTR हाँ
Plus
पीटीआर
zero.
स्टार। अच्छा अगले वाला कैसे करेंगे?
स्टार पीटीआर प्लस 1।
+1।
1 2 3 4। अच्छा ये अच्छा लगता है कि पीटीआर ब्रैकेट करने से अच्छा लगता है? कौन सा अच्छा है? तुम्हारा
ब्रैकेट।
मर्जी, तुम्हारा मर्जी, इसमें कोई फिक्स रूल नहीं है, तुमको कौन सा अच्छा लगेगा और कोई फिक्स रूल मैं नहीं बोल सकता। यस और नो? कैन आई टेल व्हिच यू लाइक? नो, सो इट्स योर चॉइस, whichever one you can use. So now let's give the value over here. देखो समझ में आया कि नहीं है? थोड़ा बोलो तो मैं आगे बढ़ूं। क्या है पीटीआर
Yes,
प्लस आई?
yes.
अभी मैंने देखा स्टार ऑफ पीटीआर नहीं लिख के आई, रोड पीटीआर प्लस 0 आई, स्टार ऑफ पीटीआर प्लस 0 लिखा था। समझ में आ रहा है क्यों 0 लिखा था?
Yes, sir.
बोलो तो क्यों लिखा था? Why I wrote not star PTR, I wrote PTR plus 0 whole star or not? So
Yes, sir.
PTR plus 0 star, PTR plus
1
PTR
star.
plus
2
इसी के लिए लिखा था मैंने।
लूप में
हाँ।
आ जाएगा।
लुक में आ जाइए, यही है सारे दिया। हेमंत, अरे हेमंत कहाँ? हेमंत समझ में आ रहा है? हेमंत सोया है।
नहीं सर, सुन रहा हूँ सर, सोया नहीं।
हाँ ठीक है, सोया। इतने दूर से देख रहा हूँ तो गलत देख रहा हूँ, ठीक है। सम इक्वल टू सम प्लस पीटीआर प्लस आई, इज इट अंडरस्टूड? I
Yes.
could also write PTR bracket I or not. Can you display the results? अरे होगा या नहीं होगा?
हाँ सर।
हाँ सर।
ये तो कॉपी कर लोगे? हाँ क्या है कि नहीं? और ऐसा करो, टेक एन array of size 20 using calloc. Take an array of size 20 using calloc. Store value 10, comma 20, comma 30, comma 40 in the even position of the array. 10 elements 10, store element 10, comma comma, समझ में आया? नहीं नहीं ऐसे मत करो, ऐसे मत करो, ऐसे मत करो, ऐसे मत करो, क्या अलग लेके 10 मत करो। So in the odd positions store the index value, in the odd position store the index value. Let me explain this, let me explain this. हमने क्या लिया? मैलॉक और कैलॉक। कैलॉक तो सब वैल्यू इनिशियल क्या होगा?
0
0।
अच्छा इंडेक्स किसका क्या है?
0।
समझ में आया?
यस सर।
मैंने क्या बोला, पढ़ा तो थोड़ा।
ऑड पोजीशन पे स्टोर
और
इंडेक्स
पोजीशन
वैल्यू
में, और पोजीशन, यही और पोजीशन। इसमें क्या स्टोर करना है?
1
1
इसमें क्या स्टोर करना है?
3।
आया समझ में आया कि नहीं आया?
ठीक।
कुछ नहीं करना है, कुछ नहीं
Sir,
करना
can you please repeat the question?
है। रिपीट द क्वेश्चन से टेक एन array of size 20, ठीक है, यूजिंग मैलॉक और कैलॉक? कैलॉक। ओके, इन द इवन पोजीशन स्टोर 0, इन द ऑड पोजीशन स्टोर द इंडेक्स वैल्यू। ऑड पोजीशन। अब चॉइस तुम्हारा है, मैलॉक लोगे कि कैलॉक लोगे? कैलॉक लोग, क्या लोगे? मैलॉक और कैलॉक। इवन पोजीशन में 0 स्टोर करना है, ऑड पोजीशन में इंडेक्स पोजीशन स्टोर करना है। Will you go for मैलॉक? यस, वेरी गुड।
कैलॉक लेंगे तो 0 स्टोर हो ही जाएगा।
0 स्टोर हो ही जाएगा। आया समझ में?
यस सर।
अच्छा सानिध्य, एक मैं क्वेश्चन पूछता हूं इधर। देन इफ यू फाइंड आउट द सम, द साइज ऑफ द array is 20, index positions are 0 to 19, index positions are 0 to 19. If I find out the sum, what would be the sum? Can anyone say?
Sum of odd numbers.
निकाल के बोल देना।
सर ऑड होगा।
अरे अरे निकाल के बोला करो, मैं बोलूंगा नहीं, ठीक है?
ठीक है।
निकाल दिया करो मतलब तो।
सर
अरे इफ यू आर द ऑड नंबर 1 3 5 7 क्या आएगा? अच्छा
नंबर
खुद
स्टिल
निकाल लोगे ना? जो आएगा ठीक है, जो आएगा आएगा।
100.
हाँ जो आएगा उसमें। अंडरस्टूड इट? अब एक चीज, अच्छा सर हम तो बहुत आसान चीज बोलते हैं, पॉइंटर विल बी पॉइंटिंग टू यूजिंग मैलॉक, a pointer will be pointing to 1 dimension or 2 dimension. Till now what I discussed only a
1D।
सर इससे क्या होगा? आगे तो हम 2 dimensional array काम करेंगे। yes or no? When I go for a 2 dimensional array, there are 2 possibility. Number of rows are fixed, size of each row is variable. number of rows are fixed, 100 students name, 100 students name and names are different character or not. और भी एक ऑप्शन हो सकता है, number of rows are variable but size of each row is fixed. Let's come fast. Number of rows are fixed, sorry, variable and size of row is fixed. कितने रो लेंगे वो पता नहीं है. Whether I'll go for 10 rows or 20 rows, I do not know. But size of row is of how many integers? तो आप में लिखो. Size of each row. अच्छा प्रोग्राम तो देख लो, प्रॉब्लम क्या है. सानिध्य क्वेश्चन देख लो.
हाँ
Allocate and assign dynamically a two-dimensional array. n cross 5. इसका मतलब क्या, कोई बोल सकता है? n is variable. N is variable.
sir.
Number of rows could be
Variable.
10, 20, 30. But size of each row is of
5.
very good. Where column size is fixed to 5. ठीक है? And find out sum of all elements. इससे पहले क्या था? Pointer pointing to how many integer? An integer. अरे
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
an integer में an access किए थे कि array access किए थे?
Array.
Array. But an integer we went from there. Now my pointer will be pointing to an element or a group of integers.
Group of integers.
And that group comprises of how many integers? Very good.
5.
Now look at the red statement, red color int this. Is it understood? Yes or no? अच्छा इसमें तो difference बता दो. आ गया int star आया 5. How many variable did I declare here? आ गया
5.
5 variable. And each variable is a pointer to our integers.
Integer.
Looks like this. Array of pointers. Each pointer is pointing to an integer. Understood it? Yes or no? आ
Yes.
गया? सानिध्य सही बोला मैंने?
हाँ
अगर इसमें ब्रैकेट डाल देते हैं, is it 5 pointer or 1 pointer? 1 pointer.
one.
And that pointer is pointing to 1 integer or 5 integer. अरे अगर ये
5.
मैंने नहीं लिखता, ये मैंने नहीं लिखता.
One integer.
Integer was pointing to only 1 integer. If I
Yes,
write
sir.
down this, the integer is pointing to how many integers? Sorry, pointer is pointing to how many integers?
5.
5.
Is it understood? Yes or no? So now tell me, this is of 1 pointer or 5 pointer?
5.
1 pointer
One
pointing to
pointer
5.
bracket डाल दिया. 1
One
pointer.
pointer
But the
pointing
pointer
to
is
5.
pointing to how many integers?
5.
If I do not put the bracket, how many pointers?
5.
5.
ठीक है? ये मैंने 4 मंगाया, 1 कप मंगाया कि 5 कप मंगाया? ये जो पॉइंटर में 4 मंगाया, 1 कप और 5 कप? 5 कप मंगा लिया. This pointer can point to how many integer group?
5.
Very good. How many row I asked? Oh, sorry. हाँ, how many row? n बता दिए, 10, 15 जो भी है. आगे बढ़ते हैं. कैसे इनिशियलाइज करेंगे देख लो. Look at this. थोड़ा ये पढ़ो. कहां से पढ़ रहे हो? लेफ्ट और राइट? नहीं, बीच में से पढ़ो. यही तो मुश्किल है. पढ़ना भी सीखना पड़ेगा. इसके लिए कहां से पढ़ रहा हूं देखो. मैंने इसी से पढ़ो. पहले मैलॉग टाइपकास्ट बात में आएंगे. टाइपकास्ट बात में आएंगे. मैलॉग सपोज n is 10. n is 10 into 5. साइज ऑफ int is 2. कितना बाइट अलोकेट होगा? 10 into 5
100.
into 2, 100. कोई बोल दिया 100. इतना जल्दी मल्टीप्लीकेशन करता ना मेरे को. 100 bytes. Is it understood to everyone? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
100 bytes. Yeah, it will allocate 100 contiguous bytes. Not 5 group, 2 group like this. Only 100 bytes. How many integer space? If each integer takes 2 bytes?
Sir, 50.
integer space.
50.
But those 50 integers are arranged 10 cross 5, 5 cross 10 or 25 cross 2. कुछ पता नहीं है. कुछ पता नहीं है. Only contiguous 50 integer space. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, एक चीज पूछूंगा फिर सानिध्य. ये तुम्हारा को नाम नहीं पता, हाथ लेके पढ़ता. ये जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में है, ये क्या मांग रहा है? 1 कप चाय और 5 कप चाय. चाय का
5
मतलब
कप.
इंटीजर है.
5.
5
कब क्या
5
करोगे?
integers.
5 integers. 5 integer मांग रहा है ना? It asks for address of 5 integer.
Hmm.
Now here I supplied address to 1 integer or 5 integers.
5 integer.
5 integer.
समझ में आया टाइप कास्टिंग?
Hmm.
Yes or no? Can you tell if a, now look at this, अच्छी तरह से उसमें ध्यान मत, a is pointing to the first integer or address of the first 5 integers.
First 5 integer.
Very good. How can I access this element using a star? This is element or address of the first element? Address of the,
Address first.
आया समझ में?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा इसी को कैसे एक्सेस करेंगे?
A plus 3.
Star a
A
first
plus
element, star is address of the first element plus,
3.
अच्छा इसी को बोलो, बहुत जल्दी जल्दी बोल रहा हूँ, इसी को बोलो, मैं देखता हूँ कि क्या बोलते हो तुम लोग. हाँ, a is address of the first row. What is address of the next row?
A plus
Plus
1.
Address of the next row. What is address of the first element of the next row?
A plus 1 plus 3.
Plus 2, plus 2,
Plus
plus 2,
2,
Plus 2. Plus 2.
अब then I put a star.
Put a star.
Yes or no?
Yes.
और आप जिससे कर रहे हैं ना, ये होगा नहीं. नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं. इसको you can write down just like a 2-dimensional array. 1, 2. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But provided your pointer is pointing to address of a row, provided your pointer is pointing to address of a, generally you could write this just like a 2-dimensional array. But this 2-dimensional array is assigned, allocated to the OS, to the program at the beginning of the execution or during executions.
During.
एक चीज लिखो, ये प्रोग्राम करेंगे. अच्छा इसको वैल्यू असाइन कर पाओगे अभी? 2-dimensional array हो गया, असाइन कर लेना. आई जे हुए तो सर मतलब रट लिए फॉर आई जे 0 है कि नहीं? आई असाइन द वैल्यू, आई फाइंड आउट द सम. ठीक है, क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है. राइट डाउन द क्वेश्चन, राइट डाउन द क्वेश्चन. फाइंड आउट, असाइन तो हो गया वैल्यू. फाइंड आउट द सम ऑफ द एलिमेंट्स प्रेजेंट इन द लास्ट कॉलम. फाइंड आउट द सम ऑफ द एलिमेंट्स प्रेजेंट इन द last column of the matrix. Find out the sum of the elements present in the last column of the matrix. ऐसा समझ में? Yes or no? अच्छा कोई बोल सकता लास्ट कॉलम क्या क्या एड्रेस होगा? तो सॉरी हाँ, ए नहीं प्लस ब्रैकेट बोल दो, आसान हो जाएगा. A04
1 4
वेरी गुड. अरे आसानी
1 4 2 4 3 4 4 4.
1424 है कि नहीं?
यस सर. सर जे लूप को हटा देंगे और जे की जगह 4 डाल देंगे.
04 देन
1 4
हाँ,
2 4 3 4 4 4.
समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? तो कौन सा पार्ट चेंज हो रहा है?
सर
बोल
जे
दो
लूप को
index और
हटा
first
के
index.
वहां पे 4 कर देंगे.
हाँ, बहुत सनी ने सही बोला. Which index is changed? Both the index or only first index?
Only first.
फर्स्ट इंडेक्स.
Second index is fixed or not?
यस सर.
सब लोग कर पाओगे?
यस.
Can you do it for the third row?
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
मतलब थर्ड कॉलम. सॉरी ये थर्ड गलत कर दिया. इसको 2 वोल्ट कर देते, 2 कर देते. 012 ये क्या होगा?
2.
समझ में आया कि नहीं है? कैन यू डू दिस और नॉट?
यस.
ठीक है. सिंटैक्स तो मैंने बोल चुका हूं, टाइप कास्ट फ्लोट ऑल दिस. ठीक है. फाइंड द लार्जेस्ट एलिमेंट एंड स्टोर इट इन द 0th पोजीशन फ्रॉम एन array. Find out the largest position element and store it in the 0th index. हाँ, largest element stored in the 0th position. ठीक है, तो कॉपी करके कर लो. समझ लो ना क्या? हाँ सानिध्य, what is the first index position?
0.
Sir, 0.
हाँ, कहाँ से ना चेक करो. 1 2 3 maybe let's say 19. All these among all these elements will find out the largest and store it in the position
0.
0.
Let me say the initial value here is 0.
हाँ sir.
यस सर.
Yes or no? All the numbers
yes.
are positive. You
Yes, sir.
compare with this, then compare with this, compare with this. Whenever you find out this is larger, store it over here.
यस सर.
Yes sir.
So today I discussed up to this. 2 more classes are required to complete the syllabus. Okay. So possibly tomorrow or next Thursday we'll be able to finish our syllabus. Okay. And Friday again is a
Sir,
slack day. Any student who has missed some continuous evaluation because of your absence in the class, got 0 out of 3, may come on Friday. Friday क्या होता है? कौन सा day? 3rd of June, I think. 3rd of June. So you can make it up. If your technical assistant consider, they will assign some marks for those classes which you have missed. You may not get the full mark 3 out of 3, but at least 1.5 they may consider. Okay. But for all others, it is optional day. For all others, it is a optional day. But the students who have missed some continuous evaluation, for them also optional. If you want, you can come and get some mark out of it. Some, if they consider. ठीक है, थोड़ा स्कोप दे देते हैं.
सर
हाँ, yes, yes.
सर हमने आपको पहले भी बोला था सर, आप देखिए ना सर, वो अटेंडेंस में वो 14 दिन एब्सेंट दिखा दिए है.
Attendance I am not considering for the mark. What do you worry? I only consider attendance physically what the technical assistants are taking. Sharp attendance I am not taking. I have told also. You
सर
told me
उनका
10
नाम,
times.
सर उनका नंबर दे दीजिए फिर हमको.
नंबर क्यों दूं? हमने सब टेक्निकल असिस्टेंट्स का फोन नंबर, नाम, मेल आईडी सब कुछ दिया है कि नहीं? देन वो काम मैं गलत नहीं करता. ठीक है.
नहीं सर, बात उस चीज का नहीं है, बात ये है कि आपको अटेंडेंस की भी जरूरत होता है ना सर.
और ले लो अटेंडेंस मेरे से.
अच्छा नहीं सर, सर एक और चीज, सर क्विज का मार्क्स के बारे में पूछना था सर, सॉरी.
दे दूंगा मार्क.
हाँ